February, 1997. As we pulled into the driveway that sunny afternoon in February, the last thing I expected to see was my parents' car parked in front of my house and them standing at the front door. For most people, this may be a normal situation, but for me, it was unsettling. My parents had never stopped by unexpectedly. We didn't have that kind of relationship. They knew I didn't like them to show up unannounced. They came over either for dinner or to babysit, but we always planned it. We sat in the driveway for what felt like hours, thinking of all the explanations for my parents' visit. I had a sick feeling in my gut. Neither one of us wanted to get out of the car, but we had no other options. As we approached them, I noticed a large manila envelope in my mom's hand. They didn't give their usual over-the-top greeting to Travis, but were rather serious instead. I casually asked what was up and what was in the envelope without showing how bothered I was about them being there. My mom said she had something very important to talk to us about. My dad was quiet as usual. We stood at the front door in an awkward silence, waiting for Nick to unlock the door. Once inside, we walked in and headed to the family room. I again asked what was in the envelope. My mom started babbling on about how she had something very important to tell me that she never intended for me to know, but there were circumstances arising that led them to believe I would soon find out from someone else. She tossed the envelope to me on the floor and said, "Well, it's all there." As I pulled the papers out, I noticed they were court papers of some sort. I read about a baby girl born on December 14th, 1976, my birthday, to her mother, Gail Hauser, whom Ron and Wilma Hastings adopted. The rest of the packet became a blur. I sat there on the floor thinking there was no way these two people waited 20 years to tell me they adopted me. My inability to connect with my parents over the years and all the feelings that I didn't belong came flooding back. Instantly, I had the answer to the constant questions while growing up about why I didn't look like my parents. The only health history I ever knew, which was absolutely horrible, was all void. I wanted to know who else knew about this, and if she was ever really pregnant. I questioned everything they had ever told me. I just sat there and stared at the papers. I was in complete shock. I was angry, but sadly, I was more relieved than anything. The many fears that I had that were based on the lie that these two people were my biological parents were no longer valid. I could have avoided many things in the previous few years had I known this information. My mom began crying and rambling about how great it is being my mom, that she would always love me and that no matter what I did, she would always be there for me. She continued her crazy talk while I just sat there. My dad stayed quiet, didn't say one word. Her thinking that her time as my mom was over made me even more angry. She had no idea what keeping this secret had done to me. I had felt lost and alone most of my life. I always felt like something was missing and spent countless moments searching for that thing, coming up empty-handed every time. The air in the room felt thick. After they left, I immediately dialed the number. After the call ended, I sat there repeating the words, "I am adopted. I'm adopted. I am adopted." He was always there. That day rocked my world. However, now that I'm healed, I can see God's hands all over my adoption. My parents never planned on telling me. A cousin who went against the grain and made a family history book which noted my adoption forced my parents' hand. That was God. That it only took me 3 days to connect with my birth mom on her birthday and my anniversary was also God. It is no coincidence that my middle name, although spelled differently, is the same as my birth mom's. Gail even remembers how easy it was to find a family to adopt me. All the pieces had to align, and when that happens, I recognize His hand and give God the credit. Can you think of a time in your life when all the pieces lined up perfectly? Some people call this luck, but there is no such thing as luck. The Lord moves in our lives, whether or not we know Him. It's up to us to open our eyes and look around.